I want to ask you something very simple. What would you do if you see this? If your plate breaks, what would you do? What would you do? You skip it. But what would you do if something in your life breaks? You can't skip that. My friends, do you know in Japan in the 15th century, people used to unbreak the porcelain and bind it together using gold and lacquer. And they used to create an even better version of the original one. And this art was called Kintsugi. Kintsugi literally translates into binding with gold, or better yet, embracing imperfections. The imperfections that we have been living in our life, the burdens of the past, everything that is not letting you move forward to recreate a better tomorrow, Kintsugi is the answer. My name is Arpit Arora. I'm India's leading personal finance expert and wealth coach. And I'm on that mission in my life to transform the life of more than 10 million Indians so that they never have to worry about money in their life. They're able to live with passion, and most importantly, they're able to live with inner peace and joy. And today I'm present right here in front of you, taking one more step towards that mission. So friends, I want to talk to you about something even more important, and that is what I want to give away. My talk today, I want to give away to all of those people who have experienced inadequacy of money in their life, to all of those people who think that money cannot be conquered, to all of those people who really want to make a drastic change in their financial life. Today, I want all of those people to know that money is easy, money is simple, money is abundant, as long as you're just going to follow through what I'm going to tell you, because today is going to be that day that you can make this transformation, make this leap happen. So are you ready? Yes. All right, love that. So, friends, do you know today 80% of India is educated, but do you know how many of us are financially literate? Now that's a question that is very hard to answer, and the answer is actually quite scary. The thing is that business owners and salaried people today are, although they're managing their money, but they're doing the job that they're doing with money management, it is not serving their purpose. They struggle to do that. And in that struggle, while they're working so hard, but not being able to make enough money and not being able to manage money, money is always an issue for most of the people in India. The problem really, is it about financial education, or is it really something else? I want to ask all of those people, what if something changes? What if they start becoming financially literate? Would then things change? Actually, you'll be very surprised to know that it is not that if someone wants to break their financial journey of not getting results and get into the journey of creating transformation in their life, is financial literacy or education the only factor? If that is what you're thinking, I want to tell you the answer is actually much, much, much deeper. It actually starts from the level of your relationship with money. You must be wondering, relationship with money, what is that? You have a relationship with your father, your mother, your brother, your sister, your friends, your colleagues, all of those people, you have a relationship with them. But these are living people. Money is not living. How do you talk to money? That is where the transformation actually initiates. Because while we have a relationship with all of these people, it depends on how you interact with them, yes? But how do you interact with money? How do you change your relationship with money? This is a very, very important question. And once you get the answer to this, everything else is actually going to start changing in your life. Because by this point, everyone wants to know, how does a change in the relationship of money happens? Well, before we dive into it, I want to tell you a little bit about myself. When I grew up, the relationship I had with money was coming from the relationship my parents had with money. Ironically, your relationship with money starts from the age of 3. Yes, right from 3 years of age, your relationship starts, because what you see and observe from the people around you, your parents, the family that you have around you, your friends, howsoever everyone experiences money, and how you observe them, all of that when it comes into you, when you absorb all of that knowledge, when you see how they're behaving with money, when you see if they're struggling or not struggling with money, all of those things actually become a part of your relationship with money. This is called a reflective reality. The reality that they, your parents or your friends have about money starts coming into you. Now, when you have this sort of a relationship with money, when I grew up, I could see that my parents belonging to a middle class family worked extremely hard. And while they worked extremely hard, they were trying to save more and more. And while they were trying to save more and more, they could not thrive with money. They could not feel the abundance of money. And that is what I saw growing up. And when I saw that growing up, and as I went to London when I was in the age of 18, I started making money in UK. And when I started making money, my old subconscious relationship with money, which I had acquired from my parents, was actually starting to play out. I had never seen abundance. And so whenever I made money, and I made quite a lot of it, I kept on spending it. I bought a BMW car. I took on Euro trips every single month. Yes. Simply because I did not want to store money. For me, my relationship with money was that if I store money, I will not be able to live a happy life. And it wasn't that I did not know about investing. It wasn't that I did not know about the UK housing market. I just never could build that relationship with money that I wanted to go deeper into it and actually do something about it. That was my relationship with money. And you'll be amazed to know that this relationship can be changed. This relationship can be altered whenever you like. And that is exactly what I want to do. So how many people want to know how they can completely alter the relationship with money, not just for them, but for the entire family? Are you interested? Yes. Okay. So I'm going to break it down for you, and it's going to be super simple. How you can change this relationship altogether is when you understand what is the mechanics of this relationship. The relationship is actually created simply on the basis of your financial habits. Your financial what? Habits. Your habits are the patterns in the subconscious mind which keep on repeating itself on certain triggers. And ironically, you would not even notice those triggers. I'll give you an example. I'm sure you'll simply understand. When it comes to getting, let's say, children getting money from parents, what is the first thing that you do? When someone gets a salary, what is the first thing that they do? All of those things, spend on where? On necessities or desires. So these things, like you correctly said, this is the pattern that you have. This is a habit that you have. Once someone changes the patterns and habits, naturally results change, because if you look deeper enough, would you not say that the pattern in itself is creating the relationship? And this relationship is creating feelings and thoughts about money, and on the basis of which are you taking your actions, and isn't it that your actions are creating the results? Yes or yes? So the whole idea here is that if you just work on the relationship with money, and underneath the relationship is simply your financial habit. Now you must be wondering, how is it that I can change my financial habit? How is it that I can recreate a financial habit? This is in my subconscious mind. How do I do that? Well, I want to give you a 5-step framework which can totally transform anyone's financial life once and for all to recreate the sort of life that they want to live with money. Are you interested? My friends, this is truly transformative, because this 5-step method is going to help you create whatever sort of financial life that you always desire. And like I said, not just for you, but for the friends around you, for the family around you, for anyone who you deeply care. If you just apply this, everything is going to change. And that 5-step method is called ADAPT. Adapt. So you must be wondering, adapt to what? Let me explain. Let's start with A. A stands for awareness. Awareness of what your pattern is. If you already know your pattern, great, but what if you don't know? If you don't know what your pattern is, it is best to get an accountability partner, someone who sees you, observes you, someone who's close to you, and is able to see how you operate with money. And once you have an accountability partner, it is extremely important to understand that are you going to accept your pattern or do you want to deny it? Do you know most people, in fact 80% of the people would simply deny their pattern and say, no, this is not true. If you're going to go for denial, this is the end of the story. But if you are willing, if you have the courage enough to accept what your pattern is, can you actually move into D, which is the second thing. The second thing is actually taking the decision. Making the decision that you're going to do something about it or not. Because a lot of people out there know what their pattern is, but they have internally decided that they do not want to take action. And do you know why? Simply because they do not believe that they will be able to change the pattern. They simply have been following the same pattern for so many years that simply they say, I will not be able to change, this is my destiny. But for the people who want to make a change, who want to create a transformation, at this point, you have to make that decision that would I let my past beliefs, actions, stories keep on repeating itself into the future? Or am I going to do something about it now and make that change? And this is that point when you make that decision. And the third is the most beautiful one of them all, because this happens simply, mentally, subconsciously, and this one will make sure that you get the results, and that is arrange. Arrange the people around you, arrange your circumstances, arrange everything around you in such a way that you build up that intensity and that momentum before you start taking action. Let me give you an example. So if you drive a car and you press the accelerator pedal, is it that the car moves first or something happens in the engine? That something that happens in the engine is the intensity that is going to further create action. This intensity is actually the reason why people do or don't get results later on despite the act. Because if you haven't built up enough intensity, because you're moving from a static stage into an action stage, this intensity is actually going to make sure are you going to get it done or you're just going to struggle with it for years to come. So this is a very, very important aspect. Now we come to ADAP, and P is planning. A step-by-step action plan which can make sure that you understand the sequence and you're able to follow through without getting overwhelmed. By this point, the mistake that most of the people do is that they simply take on too many tasks at one time. They get overwhelmed. The problem is that in your cognitive mind, you are not able to take too many decisions at the same time. It reduces a lot of energy of the mind and the mind gives up, and that is how you feel overwhelmed. If you want to overcome this feeling, the only way is actually work on one habit at a time. How many? One habit at a time. Once you take up one habit and you start working towards it, naturally, this step-by-step method of taking action towards it is going to change it forever. Now, as you're taking this action, something very beautiful is already happening in the background. And do you know what that is? Is T, A-D-A-P-T. And T is termination. Your old pattern is already moving out and your new pattern is already kicking in. While both of these are happening together, you're able to recreate yourself into a newer person. And this newer person is not doing the mistakes the old person was doing. You are still the same you, but the habits has changed. This transformation has already happened. I want to give you an example of one of my students. Now, when I say my student, does not mean he's an 18-year-old. I'm actually talking about a 57-year-old person who came to me and said, Arpit, all my life I've made investments, but I've made losses, be it stock markets, be it lending money to someone, be it investing in real estate. Every single time, I don't know what is wrong with me. I'm also not technologically very advanced, and most of it all, I'm almost to the verge of the end of my working life. How do I change? How do I recreate a new financial self? And in 3 years, as I worked on the A, if you look into his words, you'll be able to find adapt in it. Because when he came to me and he told me that all of these results are not serving, he's already understood the A. He's aware that this pattern is not working for me. And D, he's made a decision that he wants to do something about it. This is why he's here in front of me. And again, A, he wants to arrange his people around, his teams, his family, and create an arrangement with me so that he's able to take action and actually come to the point of T, which is terminating the old habits. In just 3 simple years, he was able to transform his life to a point where not only does he have financial abundance today, he is not scared of money, he has crores in the bank, he's started another business because he has so much financial backing. When it comes to money, he is not scared at all, and he is living a life totally fearless, recreating so much money and abundance, not just in him, but his family, and most importantly, the people that he works with too. Creating a true impact, not just in his life, but in the people around him as well. So if someone at the age of 57 can do it, I think you can do a much, much more better job. So the question really is asking yourself this very, very important word, the choice. Giving yourself the choice that do yourself. Do I want to continue with the old pattern, or do I want to recreate a new self? My friends, this is time to use Kintsugi. This is the time to embrace your imperfections, understand where you're wrong, and reach out and recreate to live a life which is truly free of money worries. I leave you all with this thought, and I hope to see this transformation in you. Namaskar.